trainer for today would be Your trainer for today would be Rabani Mubarak from Optimus. So before I pass the floor to him, I just want to remind everyone to make sure that you have filled in the survey that's found on the registration page on Eventbrite if you haven't already. So those surveys will really help us a lot. And if you have any questions during the workshop, please type it down in the chat box, and Rabani, the trainer, will get back to it whenever he can and after he's done with the section. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Rabani onto the virtual stage. Hi, Rabani. I think your mic is off, by the way.
That's the part of having Google Meets and
Yeah.
Zoom calls. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Bunny, but you all can call me Bunny. Ying or YAB will share you my contacts if you do need to reach out to me later on after the workshop on Google Analytics, where we can actually help facilitate any of your queries further. But the purpose of this workshop is to also share and help businesses grow in a very data-driven approach to marketing. We will run the sessions in as quickly as possible, and then for each lessons that we finish, we will have a 10 minutes break where if you have any questions, you can address the questions in the chat box, and Ying will actually highlight to me so that I can answer some of your questions later on. Okay, so not to prolong this further, it's a Thursday, so and it's going to be the afternoon, so I do get that our energy is low. So let's start the workshop. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, guys, can you see my screen? Okay, so let's begin the Ying, everything's okay, right? Okay, so we're going to start approach of how data-driven marketing can actually help your business. This is utilizing Google Analytics. Just do take note about Google Analytics. There's two functions right now. There is the Universal Analytics, which is free, and there's the GA4, which is for bigger businesses that are in it. Okay, so, sorry. Yeah, so hold on for a sec. Okay, just to give you an introduction, Optimus is a digital ad tech company. So we provide publishers and agencies of how they can actually use Google Analytics. But not only that, because Google Analytics is part of a whole marketing technology ecosystem where brands and agencies such as even publishers utilize the platform itself. Okay, just to give you a run-through of what our workshop will look like. We will actually cover the introduction of Google Analytics. We will also show you the interface of Google Analytics, basic reportings, also looking to how you can run your campaigns using measurements, tracking campaigns. And if we do have the time, we will actually show you a case study of how we actually do Google Analytics, who utilize Google Analytics and Google Ad into it to run some of the business operations into it, okay? So just to give you a definition of what Google Analytics is, Google Analytics involves three stages basically in the funnel. So when you look at Google Analytics, you look into creating a funnel where data is being collected and there's a funnel to it. And within the funnels, Google Analytics will then create a report for you. So it involves a lot of acquisition where it involves building, acquiring users' interests. So you can actually track the users' interests, demographics, their types of behavior, how they engage your website. So especially for e-commerce, news and media publications, these are a form of interaction where Google Analytics can actually interact with their information, and that is how conversion is being made. And for businesses, ultimately, depending on your objective, your business goals, or Google Analytics goals of sales. So in a holistic way,
Sorry, Bunny. Do
yeah,
you think you can change your slide setting? Because
sure.
currently, yeah.
Hold on, yeah. Are you not seeing the proper slides?
We are, but we could also see the notes and everything.
Yep, I see. Hold on. I do not know why I cannot see my mouse. Just give me a sec.
Sure.
Is this better?
Yes.
Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's go back to it. Yeah. So what we okay, let's go back to the defining. If you have missed it, we look into acquisition, behavior, and conversion. These are all filtering to data are being collected and pushed into a business goal and objective depending on what you seek. If there's any concern, do ask me further on this. Okay. On a fast look on it, what Google Analytics does is actually they look into looking at the number of users, number of page views that people actually engage, which pages do they check. They even able to track location geographically based on districts or countries or states. They are also able to check the user's IP and so on. We will give more elaborations into it. Yeah, when you look at Google Analytics, who practices this? Google itself actually practices this because of where it's part of their product. And they have other marketing platform products that partners agency utilize them for. But not only that, localizing it in RTB RTB Go will be able to track in real time when audience are actually seeing their content and the types of content that they are actually reaching out to, and how long do they spend on RTB Go, both on the web and app itself. Do take note when it comes to Google app itself, they use a different product under Google called Firebase when it comes to analytics. So brands like Progressive also use Google Analytics, Laksamana, and OmniSports. So that whether you're big agencies, education, or small businesses, you can actually use Google Analytics to actually track your business in acquisition, behavior, and conversion reporting process. Yeah. The use of Google Analytics basically gives you insights to your data of your online advertising. So when you run online campaigns, you can see where the traffic are coming from online, when coming from social media, whether it's coming from your display partners, whether you're buying display ads, search, cost per click, paid search. These are a few examples of it where your campaigns are being run. But in general, basically, Google Analytics help you to understand certain places where people buy the shirt. So let's say example, if you're buying products through Amazon or the Google Store merchandise store, you can actually see where what color, what brand, or what size people are using in those areas, because each of them have their own page. And this helps you to understand the user's progress from their customer journey. So at which part of the stage in the site, if there is 5 steps of process to going to the site, at which point of the stage did they drop off, or did they reach the 5th stage, which is the final stage, to reach the shopping cart. And basically you will able to understand your users, whether they are having trouble engaging your content or clicking on the submit button, clicking buy, clicking on enlarging the content. So types of events that you have implement into your websites, these are some of the examples that are actually being focused on to actually track your customer journey through Google Analytics. Okay, so people who benefit from it are the brands that I mentioned above, but different kind of businesses look at different kind of initiative. Like RTB, where it's news and media, so they are considered like publishers. So they create high content and they want to engage the audience. So it benefits them to actually highlight on the size of where they can position some of the advertisements, placements, but also where they can position their content or the type of contents they want to engage. For sellers, it helps to actually understand the customers online on their customer journey. What kind of information did the FAQ direct them to the sell buying chart? So this is where most of the ads are actually direct. The Google Analytics will actually help to track the conversion rate and the flow of the consumer based on some campaigns that are being run or from the web performance of engagement. And ultimately, like social media marketing are considered like a lead generation. So when you run your campaign on social media, was there a lead generation that was directed the consumers or the audience from Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn, or even your email marketing directed to your platform itself? So was the information on social media informative enough? Does this actually help the sales team or the business developer to get the information they need from those social media campaigns that are being run, or the email marketing that is being run, or the form filling on Survey Monkeys? So this kind of information actually helps to lead the consumer and help to actually help the sales in the organization online and offline at the same time. Okay, how Google Analytics works, as mentioned, Google Analytics works in a way where it's a processes of data. They will collect all your data, and this is where it can be exchanged. So people visit your website and it's funneled through the information, geographically, location, time-wise, even devices and technology. And Google Analytics actually collect all this information for you to see. So as mentioned, website funnel, Google Analytics, these are all how it's being tracked. But the process works in a way where, especially for you, you need to create a Google Analytics account, which we'll talk about it later on, and implement a small tracking code, which Analytics will actually generate for you. And you need to implement the tracking codes at each page of the website, or depending on the page of the site that you want to track. The tracking code helps you to see in a fast overview how many users visited your website, how many users purchases on the confirm page, which is the last page of it, the thank you page. So all this information are being collected, and Google actually Analytics help to collect all this data into a package of informations and send it in a process where reporting, the marketers can, or your data analysis can actually process all this data into it. And all this information also can be filtered into the kind of information you want to, based on time period, based on the devices, based on location, as mentioned. So when you create Google Analytics, you look into the setup, and as an organization, you can create many Google Analytics account, but only one property, and you can look at many views. And based on Google Analytics, you can see based on the types of view setting that you're looking for, whether it's a master, raw data, or even a test page that you can create. And all these pages also have permissions, user permission that you can create. So if you're a brand that hire an agency to help you in your marketing approach, you can give them admin access into it, so they can do the edits and compile the report for you, or you can just do it yourself. And depending on who are the members that you're, so there is no limit to the number of users that you want access to your Google Analytics account. Okay, but do take note on a few things that you can move one user to access many position, and the important things that new views, this can include data and create onwards. This does not include past data. So once you have created, you just creating Google Analytics, any of your past data like yesterday onward, yesterday and anything in the past week or past month do not include on it. So if you do set up a Google Analytics account, you only start collecting data from today onwards. But do take note, it usually takes about 24 to 48 hours to actually fully generate a proper Google Analytics account, okay, for you. You can delete also some data, but take note, only an administrator who have user access to it can actually delete it, okay? And anything after 35 days, it will be no longer on Google Analytics. So only the administrator can actually put back deleted data into the Google Analytics. When you give user experience permission, take note, there are 4 types of users that you can give access to. Manage users, which has whether you can add and remove the account user to the properties and to the views. People who can edit it. So let's let user use and make the changes of configuration. You can also collaborate some of the users into your reporting. So some of the report is just to collaborate with other outside agencies. That big companies usually hire media agencies to actually manage their Google Analytics and their Google Ad Manager. Some of them cannot do anything but just only read and analyze data. So most agencies are only able to read and analyze depending on the user permission that you are allowing to use. We will run through it to actually go through you on the setup itself, okay? So right now, we will run through the Google Analytics setup for you and how you want to create an account. You need to create a Google Analytics account, or if you have a Gmail account, you can just log into a GA account. So you can go to the website itself on Google Analytics and log into it and set up an account. So once you have set up the account, you will see account creation and you need to name your account name. So it's best to name your organization. So for example, if it's Optimus, we will name it as Optimus and we will run the Google Analytics based on organization name. But in the view side, you can see a few other channels of websites that you want to view at. When you set up the account, you then actually can select whether it's a web, an app, or both an app and web. So you can actually run a few websites to actually measure what you want to measure, basically. Okay. Okay. Next, you want to look into the property setup. As mentioned, there's the property, and then there is the organizations, there's the property, and then there's the view. So when you look into the property, you will name what kind of property you want to set up into your organization of your Google Analytics account and see where you want to implement it, set it up. Once this has been set up, there will be a tracking code that will be able to be provided into it. You can actually compile this code and then after that, put it into your website so that the Google Analytics can start measuring your website. Once this all has been set up, it will go on real-time setup and you can see your measurements ready to your website performance since it's set up. But usually, as mentioned, data will only start to really build up after 24 to 48 hours, depending on how fast your site is to able to share the information with Google Analytics. So there's, as mentioned, tracking codes needs to be implemented. What we call it is G tag, Google Analytics tags. You can find it on the admin. Then you go to the tracking info. And then under tracking codes, you will be able to see the code. We will go through it on the as an example, okay? So let's go through Google Analytics to see how Google Analytics function as a whole. Let me share with you. Right. So this is the this is how Google Analytics will look like. As mentioned, when you want to create Google Analytics account, you must log in to your own email account. So you can create your own business account or register it under your Gmail account to create the Google Analytics. Just go to analytics.google.com and you will be able to actually access this. And once you have accessed it, go admin. If you want to create a new account, click create, and this will help to create the properties as mentioned, account setup, name it under your organization, and just click save. To do the G tag, Google Analytics is under the tracking info, tracking code, and you will be able to see the Google G tag here that is scripted, and you need to implement it into your website. Do take note, sometimes certain websites for Wix are a bit different. They just need a number. So what you can do is, if you see the G tag configuration, UA dash the serial number, this is a number that is given generated by Google Analytics, and you can just copy and paste this number and implement it into Wix, which is much more user friendly when you implement Google Analytics into it. Yeah. But take note that if you're doing it by hand, where you build your website with HTML code, you just need to ensure that you put below this tag of head. Okay. How you can do it is just click under, for example, the view source, where the header is. This is where you can implement your Google Analytics code into it. So if you want to find it, just click view source, look for head. And when you see head, the text head here, you just need to make sure that you implement the tag in below here, where I'm highlighting. This is where the script of the Google Analytics should be placed. So you just need to copy and paste this tag and implement it into your view source of HTML code. Okay, this is just an extra info for you to take note of. Yeah, let's go back to the deck. Okay, so we're going to do some assessment and see whether you guys can to see whether you understand the dynamics of it. Okay, there's no right or wrong answer to it because of what this questionnaire will be shared with you so that you can also to test your skills and knowledge on it. Okay, when we are using tracking code, Google Analytics can report on data from which system. Okay. So, and to collect data using Google Analytics, which step must be completed? So select all answers that apply. When you're using Google Text code, okay, Google Text can report data from e-commerce platform and mobile application and online point of sales. So what it means that if you have a e-commerce platform like Shopee Full or Wiglo or kedaivonche.com, these are e-commerce platforms that actually can help check your revenue and sales or point of sales into it. They also can see your, as it's a point of sales, you can also see the number of sales. Mobile applications also can be tracked. So that depending on the app traction, where what kind of events are happening onto your websites based on the user experience, they can actually tell the consumer, the owner of the website, what is the data is being collected from the mobile application itself. Okay, second question, to collect data using Google Analytics, which step must be completed? Okay, there's two things that you need to do. Create an analytic account, add analytics tracking code to it. This is the most two priority things to help actually start building a very data-driven marketing approach to analyze your website performance. Okay, next question. To the analytics tracking code can collect which of the following? Language or the browser. So when you go into Google Analytics, they can attract the language, they can see the type of browsers, they can even see the device and operating system. So mobile, web, and tablet. We will show you later on the interface of it. Okay. When using Google Analytics, end session by default. When will Google Analytics end session by default? When user is inactive or the site for the site for 30 minutes. So they will only stop analyzing your data when you're not active on your website for more than 30 minutes. So you can actually, somebody can actually visit your website, but they can spend 1-2 hours on it. But if you're not going pages to pages on your website, it will actually just stop collecting data from the user. Okay. Once Google Analytics process data, it's stored in a database. Where can it can it be modified? No. True. Yes, true. Once Google Analytics process data, it's stored in a database where it can be modified. So any data that's being collected through Google Analytics, you can't modify it, you can't change it. The only thing you can do it is only filter the types of data you want, and you only can delete certain data. But anything beyond that, that you can't. Only administrator can delete the data, which presents the hierarchical structures of a Google Analytics account from top to bottom. So as member, there is a step process to it. Okay, you need to create an account first, create a property, and set up your views before you can start looking into Google Analytics account. That is the hierarchical structure of a Google Analytics. Once account is being made, a property has been set up for your website, then you can start viewing Google Analytics. Users with edit permission at account level will automatically have edit permission at which other level. Okay, you can edit, can go to properties and views. Properties, the reason why is because there is one property can create types of views, and there's always 3 types of views that we will create. There is a raw data, test data, and master data that you want to collect. I will share with you, this will be explained later on why we create 3 types of data for one organization and one account. Okay, so to allocate a property analytics tracking code, which sequence or steps should be followed? Once you go to the admin, as mentioned, go to admin, tracking code, and tracking info, and then followed by extracting the tracking code and implementing into your website. So once you set up your admin account, you can go to the tracking info as mentioned and go to the tracking code, copy and paste and implement it above the header HTML code that you want to implement your Google Analytics. To use analytics to collect website data, what must be added into the website HTML code? Google, as mentioned, it was the Google Analytics tracking code. Okay, where should the analytics tracking code be placed in the HTML of website page to collect data? Immediately after opening the header of the tag, as mentioned now, this is where you implement your codes. Okay, Google Analytics process data, it's stored in a database where it can be modified. Data from after the view was created. Okay, so it stores data and it can't be modified. So once data has been collected, there's no modification on it, but you can filter what views you want. Okay, a deleted view can be recovered by account administrator only, as mentioned, within 35 days. Anything above that, Google Analytics, if the data has been deleted, 35 days, 36 on the 36 days onwards, it will be deleted. So you can't um, extract that information or data information from the user. Okay, what are the options for filtering data in Google Analytics? All the above. So when you filter data, as mentioned, you can exclude data from views, you can include and modify data as appear in the report. Why is it important to keep one unfiltered views when using filtering? To ensure you can always access the original data. So that's why we always create 3 filters of it. This will be shared with you later on, okay? In which does order do Google Analytics filter data? The order is which is filter is applied. So when you do filtering, there is a step filtering of what dates and range that you are looking for. When filter is applied to a view, what data is affected? The only thing that data is being affected are your Google Analytics, okay? Google data that you're extracting. So if you're only looking for language, they only extract language. If you're only looking for devices, they only extract language, and based on a date range that you're looking at. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick overview or interface of how a Google Analytics is into it. Okay, so a quick view. This is how the interface of a Google Analytics will look like. We will share with you this link later on for the next workshop, but I'm just going to quick show you of what I'm saying just now. This is a Google Analytics setup. This is a default page setup on it on home once you create a Google Analytics account. Okay, what you'll be looking at is real time, which is what's happening right now to your website. Okay, and then after that, what we're gonna cover later on is the audience extraction, which we talk about what Google Analytics extract, which is the audience, acquisition, and the behavior of it. So when we talk about filtering, where I did mention a few questions about filtering, which I apologize because of it. When we talk about filtering, we are talking about what kind of information we want to extract from the user. Okay. So when we do filtering, we base it on the number of days that we are collecting. Okay, usually they take 7 days, but you can filter. When I say filtering, there'll be filtering of certain dates that you want to actually collect the data. I will explain to you what is this function later on. Okay, so we will go later on, we will go through each of these interface of what this function will look like, how to do the saving, what the left hand function is going to be like, and what information you'll be looking at. So there are a lot, I think there's going to be a lot of questions that's happening between what is being filtered and what is not being filtered about, and what data can be explored. So I'm going to give you a 10 minutes break to actually relook into what's happening, and then after that, so that we can actually answer, I can address some of the questions that you might have. Okay, can we have a quick break of 10 minutes, Ying, right now?
Sure.
Yeah. So the floor is open right now to for you guys to ask me any questions at the moment, because I might have gone too fast for you to actually run the workshop for you guys. So do let me know if you have any questions right now.
Bunny, is it possible to share the link to this example for the
Sure.
analytics? All right, thank you. So for anyone who's interested to look through the analytics that the trainer Rabani showed just now, you can click the link here.
Sorry, don't use that link.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we're going to run through the let me give you another link.
So if anyone has any questions on the section just now, you can just type it in the chat box. Or you can raise your hand and unmute yourself to ask your question.
Okay, so the links that the link that I just shared, the latest link that I just shared, this will give you an interface and we will run through with you on the interface shortly. Okay.
Bunny, there's one question from the audience.
Sure.
So someone asked that are the digital analytics feature for Instagram and Facebook similar to Google Analytics? If you have any experience with that.
Okay, that's actually a very good question. The analytics are very different because what they are measuring is for Facebook is just based on your posts and your insights of it. Compared to Google Analytics, Google Analytics can actually track where your audience are coming from. And that's something that we will share on later to the workshop. For Facebook, they generally only talk about the audience. They do not inform you where the audience are coming from. Okay, so if you were to have a Facebook ad manager, okay, for example, okay, um, the interface is very different compared to Google Analytics. And for Google Analytics, because they extract information even from Instagram and Facebook, but unlike Google Facebook itself, you won't be able to actually see where the data is coming from. You only can see your ads that you're spending and the kind of reporting that you want to base it on your users. Okay. So you only can measure your performance based on the reports of what you are posting about. You can also see how much you're being how much spent and how much engagement and how much reach. That's about it. Okay. So if you look into the 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 setup of the interface of Google Facebook ad, you're not able to see much into, because it is only focusing on how much ad spend and how much sponsored posts you are actually spending on, and the types of digital ad banners you're buying, whether it's video or whether it's carousel images, and how much engagement is happening. But beyond that, you won't get much information into it. There are actually some similarities to it, but I generally prefer to use Google Analytics because social media marketing and Google Analytics marketings are very different. And social media marketing only focus on, say example, Facebook ads, Facebook ad. If it's a linking ad, it's just a LinkedIn ad. Beyond that, they won't actually share with you where the traffic is coming from. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Bunny. I hope that answers your question, Fatin, who asked the question. So just to remind everyone, we're currently on a short break, and the break will end at 3:13 p.m. So if you still have any questions for the trainer, you can just ask it in the chat box. And for those who just came in, don't forget to type in your full name to either a GDG Brunei account or to the Young Entrepreneurs Brunei account for attendance purposes. So is everyone able to access the link that was given just now to the demo Google Analytics? Okay. Bunny, can you share with us the agenda again?
Okay,
Because someone missed the introduction just now and they just want
no
to know.
problem. So we have run through the introduction of Google Analytics. I apologize if to everyone if I was going too fast, but I think the fun part will only start after you get to know the interface, the basic reporting, and also basic campaign and conversion tracking. If you love data, this is the best platform for you to utilize. We will be going through next is the Google Analytics interface, where how to navigate around Google Analytics, how overviewing the report, understanding the full report, how to share a report, and how to set up dashboards and shortcuts based on your needs, your business needs to why you want to use Google Analytics. Okay.
Okay. So someone asked about the social media analytics just now. So that was regarding a question that someone asked whether Instagram and Facebook analytics is similar to Google Analytics.
Right. It's definitely not similar because, as mentioned, Google Analytics basically see the performance of the website and the audience who are interacting your website. As for Facebook, they only give you the audience. It's all about audience marketing for social media, such as your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Reddit, TikTok. These are all about audience. So you only can see how much you're spending, where your reach is, how much reach you got, and how much like or engagement. But beyond that, they won't be able to tell you your where the traffic come from, where did the website come from. As for Google Analytics, as mentioned, they will be able to see whether it's a referral, whether it's the display ads campaign. Because what happened is when it comes to Google Analytics, you basically see the whole functionality of your website. And ultimately, the reason for Google Analytics is to track your website performance. As for social media, it's just to actually track your social media page. And the website itself is owned by Facebook. So you only can see their audience, but you won't be able to see where the traffic is coming from. but you can see where the countries that are seeing your ads. But primarily because that happens when you do targeting, you target your audience that based on your business objective to target only the audience within the parameters of where your business objective is, whether it's Bruneians who are interested in sports or arts or content, media news. That is how social media works. But when it comes to Google Analytics, you see a very holistic approach. You understand the demographics, you understand the users, you understand the age group, the interests, the website that they are visiting, what page of your website they actually are engaging, or and how long they spend on your website. Okay, so there is a big major difference between Google Analytics and social media insights.
Okay, thank you, Bunny. I hope that answers your question. So we can resume the workshop now. So if you have any question, you can type it in the chat box and we'll get back to it during the next break. Okay, back to you, Rabani.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so lesson 2, we're going to go to the Google Analytics interface. Basically, I will guide you through the Google Analytics interface. The links has been shared with you just now, but this basically, the link is a Google Merchandise Store link, demo store, where you can actually practice on seeing the report. So this will be a good example of it. Okay, so if everyone's in the platform itself, let's go run through. So as mentioned, when you create a Google account, you want to create 3 interface. One is the master, test, and raw view, where this includes the account property and the types of view switcher you can. So for agencies, they can have you can have multiple accounts, okay, and properties or view setup, which you can switch between your Google accounts that you want to set up, or how your Google Analytics is being collaborated or shared. Okay, so there will be a functionality where you can see it. So once you have set up your Google account, okay, you can see it. Like for myself, I have a few access to a few websites. So this is a few accounts that's under that shared to me under the bunnyoptimus.com, okay, .com. So once you click the master view below, you will able to see the types of accounts set up that is. So you can have a few accounts and you name it. And say example like an agency, you can have a few properties into it. And once the property has been set up, you will have a number of views that you can look into it. Got it?
Sorry, Bunny. I think a few people are having trouble with accessing the demo account.
Okay, have they set up have they created account for Google under analytics.com?
Can you unmute yourself and we'll try to troubleshoot it with you for a while?
Okay, sure, no worries. I've clicked account setup, property details. I can just type in anything.
Preferably if you have a Gmail account or your work email account, depending on what you're trying to set up, just use it as a account holder for your Google Analytics.
Okay, no worries. My other friend says that they need admin access.
This is a demo account, so I don't think so that it should be any issue. Just hold on for a while.
Okay, no worries. Okay, they said that they got it already.
Okay. Got it?
Okay, so now it's just my turn. Okay.
Are you able to access?
Yeah, give me a second. Okay, I have an account now. Let me re-click the link. Okay, now it's telling
So
me
you
I don't
create-
have access. I'm missing the permission.
Okay. You shouldn't be missing the permission because
I'm reloading it. Okay, yeah, I'm in.
okay, yeah, because it's a demo account, so it shouldn't actually restrict you from accessing it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So once you actually create the account, you can actually see your types of account into it. Do take note, if you go into demo account, there will be a UA GA4. Okay, GA4 is the latest one that is updated right now, but a lot of people are still using the UA. A lot of small, medium enterprise is using UA. GA4 is an advanced version of Google Analytics, and usually this is a paid platform more for bigger organization to utilize GA4, and the functionality and the look and feel of it is very different. So just to give you an example of how it looks like. Okay, the overview of the account will look very different because this includes their app also, for if they have app. So the acquisition and the functionalities of the on the far left are usually very different. Just to give you a heads up of how the utilize, but UA Universal Analytics under the Google merchandise store would be the basic basic function that you will need to see. Okay, so once you have accessed it, what you're looking at is that you can look at the top right of it. The top right of it has an alert menu, feedback and help settings. So any information that you want to actually have help on Google Analytics, they can actually help you with certain of the questions. What is the source medium? If there's any terminologies that might have used, you can actually do a search over here and see what's the what the terms in so that you can actually know how you're reading your report. Okay, you can set up alerts also. So this may include data that is not properly or setting that needs to be optimized. So any campaigns that you run or any reporting that you want to be alerted, they can alert you and also email you the details. So that's just something for you to know. They also want notifications. They also give you analytics intelligence insight. So that basically a run through of what's going on onto your website that you have embed your Google Analytics. So this is for you to quickly see how your performance of your marketing will be like. There will be some occasions where when you set it up, your Google Analytics, do take note, your Google Analytics will actually send you an email at least every month to tell you what's your performance of your website. So that gives you an overview of what your website is. But usually when they give you the information, it's a default setting. So you won't get the information that you really need. So you really need to filter in the information that you seek on your website. Okay. Next part of it is that what we're going to look at is at the left function of it. Okay. If you go to the left hand navigation, what you can see is home, customization, real time, which is what you're looking at right now, which consists of user revenue, conversion rate sessions, traffic, where it's coming from, source of medium, referral if there's any, how active are your user, retention based on the days and type, also countries, top 5 countries, but you can see top 10, as mentioned, devices, and also time of engagement by users onto the platform. So when you look at customization, basically it allows you to create reports of specifically to your business. Okay, there's the dashboard that you create, custom reports that you are actually creating yourself, save reports that you're saving, and custom alerts that you want alerts to be set up. And this is how when the bell will actually have a number in it. The real time basically let you see live view as at this moment, at this time and second, the user behavior on your web, which includes information where your users are coming from, as mentioned, locations, the time, spend duration, the page view, and how much per second are they spending it. You also can see between the desktop and mobile or even tablet, they are accessing your platform on the web right now. Okay. There's the next will be the audience, which is one of the most important one of it for me personally, how I feel. When it comes to audience, you're looking at the characteristic of your users. It can be the demographic, which consists of the age, the gender, where they their interests, their geographic, which is the location, also language, which plays a big part, especially in the on the internet, because of that, if your website has different language between English and Bahasa, Malay or Chinese, this is important to actually engage your consumer, so you know where they're coming from and whether you need to translate some of your informations, your content on your website. Okay. Another part of it is the behavior. The behavior of your website, basically you can see whether they are new users or they are returning users of it. So behavior basically helps to engage your site, including the pages that they view, whether they landing page that they are seeing. Okay, acquisitions. Behavior, there's two types of behavior. Behavior is just under the audience, is just new returning audience and how much they're engaging it. There's a second reporting function, which is the mean behavior report, which consists on engaging your reporting sites of where they view, what landing page did they visit, and when did they exit your website. So these are the kind of flow, behavior flow of that your user are interacting. So you can see like a mind map under the behavior report of where did they actually come from, which page did they actually land on at the beginning of the visiting your website, did they exit and go to another site, and this is something that is trackable within your own platform. You can also include your social media into part of your flow process so that you can actually see how the interaction goes to your website. Okay. Next is acquisition. Acquisition shows the types of channel that's coming from, and this could be focusing on especially on your campaigns. So if you're running any online or out of home kind of campaign, which we call as OOH, these are coming from the channels. So the channels basically shows whether you have any direct campaigns, direct users coming in, whether these users are coming from your paid search or known as CPC, click per cost, CPC, sorry, click per cost, display ad banners, or affiliated. Affiliated could be any one of your partners like YouTube that is accessing your website under the Google Merchandise Store. The rest will be considered as others. There will be also social media, so that there is something that you can take note of. So another part of acquisition under the navigation, you will look into the source, as mentioned, where is it coming from, and what kind of medium of advertisements that you're looking at. So acquisition focus on basically advertising or marketing campaigns that you have to push users or audience into your website. Okay. These help for all of these, basically is helping you to navigate to the you need to go to the left side of it and navigate and see which section and what you want to filter in. Another part of the interface of the site, if you see bottom of it, under the save, export and share, which we go later on, there is the date. The date helps to actually filter in, and you will see this being changed. So the date's based on if you're running a campaign for 1 week in the month of August, from the 1st all the way to the 8th. You apply it, click apply under the date range, and you can see that there is a now the Google Analytics is loading up the analysis of it between the 1st of August to the 8th of August. So this will be the date range, and this will be the date selector. You can base it on weeks, days, or even month, or even a year. And you can compare it with also the previous month. So example, you want to compare based on the previous week of it. You can actually choose the period, or you customize it based on the date range that you want. So example, maybe let's focus on the 1st of July to the 8th also, and you can actually apply it. Okay. And the line chart will actually show you the difference between the 1st of August and 1st of July, how you audience are actually interacting day by day on your website. You can base it on weeks. You can base it on months, especially if you do a year-on-year calendar, which is, say example, Jan 20 to, you do a 6 months and then you apply this based on the previous years. Okay, you click apply. You click apply, and they can actually share with you by the dates and the months of it. Okay. So this will be the a line, the line graph where you can actually see your performance of your website based on the audience who's visiting it, on users or new users. Above basically is we call it a segment picker, ways to look at specific data so that you can add second segment into it. Under the segment, you can see the bounce rate, whether there's converters, direct traffic, mobile traffic, new users. Basically what by default, everything on your website, when you create your Google Analytics, it will be all users. That's great enough already. But if you want to deep dive deeper, you want to add a different segments, you can actually click on other segments and build up the kind of report that you want to see. Okay, so you can apply it. Once you apply it, then the graph will actually, the line graph will show you the bounce rate and also the number of users. So this is something that you want to actually take note of. What kind of reporting are you looking for? Okay. You can copy it and you can also remove it. So now we remove it and just focus on a time period for the month of June. Do not compare, and you can click apply. Is there any questions? Okay. Next, how
sorry,
you want?
Robin.
Yes.
Sorry, Robin. This
Sorry, yes.
I just want to check. Just now when I click right the browse rate, I couldn't find the browse rate. All I can find is the bounce section.
Bounce section, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So if you can't find it, you can click type. Okay. For bounce rate, where you want to go into it is a different placement into it, because that is generally the users. It's under audience.
Audience. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So audience will be able to show you the bounce rate. Okay. Yeah. You need to you need to be comfortable and actually play around with it. To be honest, I started when I started using Google Analytics, I had no experience. No one shared with me, and I was working for a media agency, and I just play around with it. So you need to get your team or yourself to be to be able to navigate your interface. So that's why it's always important, as mentioned, to create 3 different settings of views, which is the master, test, and raw view, so that you don't disrupt any of your data. Okay. Okay. So next, what we're going to do is talk about how to save, export, and share and edit. So within this interface, what happens is you can save the data. So for example, you already have a data that you are collecting in this area. Okay. Save data lets you create a link of a specific report that you want. Okay. Say example, you want to look at audience overview. You click on OK, and you can actually have a saved report, which you can be able to see here. So depending on what you're looking for or save the information, say example, you are filtering your information based on it. You click under audience and you want to see the demographic overview of your audience. So you are able to see between the month of August 1st to the whole month of August 21st. This is your age group that you are looking at, and the gender. You just click save, and they will actually have a demographic August 2021. Okay, so that this report that you save and you're creating is basically just to inform about the demographic, and it will, if you want to find where the report is, you have to go back to customization under the save report, and you will able to see the kind of save report that you have done, that you have saved and that you are planning to collect. Okay, and you can go back to your action either to rename it, view it, and also delete it. Okay. Okay. So next part of the reporting part, you want to also know how to export it. I prefer to use export because of that I need to share my reporting to the clients. So I would usually do an Excel sheet, because sometimes when you do a raw data, like what I'm doing right now, they will give you in a Excel sheet format, and you can actually open up the files in Microsoft Excel, and the data, there's a summary which has nothing on it, but you have to click on data set 1. Okay, when you go to data set 1, you can able to see the user based on the number of dates that you have collected, information that you're looking for. Okay, you can actually filter it more and add in other informations that you want into it. Okay, for example, whatever you see in users, new users and everything, this is where you want to click and export and play around with. You can do it in PDF, Google Sheet, Excel, or CSV. But I generally use Excel to actually extract the information. But if you are comfortable in using Google Sheet, also you can extract it in Google Sheet and generate the report based on the time and the information that you want to collect based on users, new user session, or what. Okay, this report can also be shared, and you can email it to your team. And then just name it, and then after that just share with them the report. But I generally prefer, because of that, to extract it by Excel and read through the reports and filter it before I share the information with clients or with brands or advertisers. Okay. Is there any questions? No. Okay. So this is in general the interface of it. So do anyone want to see any kind of reporting to this? Let's do a test about it before we go into assessment time. Any questions?
Hi, Bunny. Someone asked if you could define what bounce rate is.
Okay, so bounce rate is in general is when bounce rate is based on when somebody visit your website. For example, okay, a bounce rate is when somebody click on directly go to your website or see a link or an ad and they click on the ad and they go generally to this website. Correct? When they go to the website, and if within 3 seconds, I do not actually engage any of the content or click a link onto the website, the bounce rate, it will within less than 3 seconds, there will be no interaction on your website. So the bounce rate are higher. So if you see that the bounce rate is at 47.21%, it means that they have engaged it within 3 seconds and are utilizing the platform. So if the higher the engagement rate, that means your website is not interactive enough for the audience to actually stream through your website. Does that answer your question, Faiza?
Yes, thank you.
No problem. Yeah. So these are good questions. Okay. If you need more understanding, you can actually put your cursor over it, and then they will actually explain to you what it is. But in general, whatever Google explains is very terminology of it. Okay. So it's a percentage based on a single page session in which there is no interaction, as mentioned. And usually, for interaction to happen, they take it in seconds. If the user who enter your website do not engage your website 3 seconds or lesser, the bounce rate will be higher. If people interact within the first second of it, first 2 seconds, there will be a lower engaged bounce rate. So the higher the bounce rate, that means the lesser people are engaging on your website. So what you can do is take note of ensuring that your website is loading fast. Sometimes also is based on connectivity. Connectivity plays a big part on your website. So when there is too much image, too much video, that doesn't allow your website to load fast, the interaction and the bounce rate will be higher. So as a media, or like websites like Borneo Bulletin, the Bruneian, the Scoop, they need to take note of the bounce rate. If the bounce rate is 70% or more, then or 50% or more, that means your website is not engaging enough. Okay, what counts as an interaction? What counts as an interaction, as mentioned, when you visit a website? Okay, so when you go to the website, say example like rtvgo.pn, you see the load, this doesn't count as an interaction yet. Once the website is being served, it's loaded, okay, and within 1, 2, 3 seconds, and people are engaging the content, this is considered as an interaction. Okay, Han? Okay. So is there any question else to the interface?
There's one more question from earlier on. So let's say you have, if a company both have like a website and an app, so is Google Analytics able to track the analytics from the app as well?
Yes, there is. That's why what is called is they call it Firebase. Firebase is another Google product that you can actually implement it into. So like RTP Go, they have an app. So you can actually go into their app, and because the app will use GA4, is a new engagement of it, and they still can track it to Google Analytics, but the form of acquisition and the reporting is a bit different functionality. So GA4 has a bit of a newer transitions to it. Got it? Does scrolling do it also? Yes, June. Scrolling the website, because once the website is being loaded, correct, then you start scrolling in it. Anything within 3 seconds is considered as interaction. Google Analytics basically can track the user experience and the events that are happening here on the website to see whether there's an interaction. So when you click on it, which I will explain what the event is, when you click on it, it's considered an event and it goes to one of the programs or the pages of it. And this is being trackable. Yes, Firebase is an app platform, part of Google Analytics. GA4 is an update to it. You can go under your admin setting. I will not go through it because Google Analytics is still, I'm still learning the function of it. I will be very honest, but it's part of the setting that you can set up here. Sorry, I'm not able to go into it. So say example, master view, okay. You go under admin. Under admin, you will see GA4 setup assistant. Okay, they will show you a step-by-step on to set up your property into GA4, which means you need to rechange if you're using WordPress or Wix. WordPress, as mentioned, is best. I prefer to use WordPress because I'm able, and I prefer to go to the view source and implement my tracking codes. But Wix just needs your tracking ID number, and then after that, just implement it. So of that, there is a different functionality to different website that you based on your website builder. Because for me, I set up my website through WordPress, and I will actually usually use the G tags and input it manually under the header. While as some website builder, they just need you to give the Google Analytics ID, tracking ID, and you just implement the ID and you'll be able to track your Google Analytics. Okay, Faiza? Okay. So I'm gonna do another assessment with you guys to see whether you're able to get the gist of using the interface of it. So what features would be used to compare two dates range in a report? Hourly, day, week, month view in time on graph, real-time report, date range comparison, or account selector? Date range comparison. Oh. That's right. Okay. Thanks. Okay. What does user metrics measure? Anyone want to answer? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. User that had at least one session on your site is given a date range. So how people measure the user is based on the matrix that they measure. So if once they enter your website and spend at least 30 up to 30 minutes, that's considered as a session on the website itself. Okay. What is the bounce rate in Google Analytics? We did this just now. Can anybody answer this? Or you can just put your cursor above the bounce rate and they give you the answer.
I think the percentage of total size is it?
Yes, the percentage of visit when a user landed on your website. So when they enter your website and exited without any interaction, that is when a bounce rate happen, as mentioned. Okay, this within 3 seconds. So if the user do not interact your website within 3 seconds, and usually that happens very fast because digitally, the millennials and anyone else who use technology do not have any patience. So that's why if you do an advertisement, just a FYI, your ads video needs to be at least 5 seconds or less. If not, no one's going to interact with your video content or advertisement. This goes for Google's and also for Facebook on social media ads. Okay, just take note. The dimension, what is dimension? So we will talk about a lot of dimension. Dimension is basically an attribute of data that sets can be organized for better analysis. So when we talk about dimension, is like when we were looking at the users, we're looking at the whole date range selection. That is the whole dimension of an attribute that we are looking at. Okay.
Not okay.
So
Rabani. I just want to.
Sorry.
I have a confusion about the dimension, the segment. What's the difference between dimension and segment?
Segments. Okay. good question. Okay, so the dimension basically focus on how do I explain it now? Okay, a dimension focus. Okay, this is not a good form. Let's go back to the data. My apologies. Okay, let's go back to Google merchandise. A dimension basically see the whole demographic of it. Okay, but a segment consists of other informations that you want to basically other information that you want beyond users. That means you want to see maybe time spent only within it, or the traffic that's coming in, like for example that where my cursor is. So segments are based on the same user, but based on what they are, where they're coming from, or what they're looking at. While dimension deep dive deeper into the attributes of the user, which means what they look into the audience directly, or the acquisition where they are coming from, or the types of behavior or the content they are visiting. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So if you're looking at segments, that means it's still the whole of your website. As in, when it comes to dimension, it's just a specific information from the audience itself, from the user. Okay.
Okay.
So this session and what this bound session is totally different. Okay, because this bound session is basically on time spent on the website, while all users, under the overview of it, okay, user basically see the whole user experience, but a bound session is basically only focused on timing of the website. Got it?
Got it.
Yeah.
I think I got it. Thank you, Rabani.
Yeah. So beyond the dimension, you look into matrix as mentioned. So the matrix focus on the number of data set often paired with dimension. So matrix can only happen when there's dimension. There will be an explanation on the matrix, the different types of matrix that you're going to look into. I will talk about it later on. You can also look at secondary dimension. When I mean secondary dimension, what do I mean by that? Say, example, you're looking at audience reporting, correct? And you're looking at geographic. So second dimension consists of, okay, I'm looking at the countries, but then a secondary dimension is I want to know what type of devices they are coming from. So you can go under the above function here, secondary dimension, and use commonly and look for device category. So under the interface, you can actually do a second dimension of it, which gives you a deep dive deeper into it. So we know majority of the users, number one, is coming from the US, but I want to know, should I actually focus on developing my desktop or mobile experience for the user more importantly? So the secondary dimension actually helps to actually deep dive deeper based on this from the United States, where it's coming from, okay, and what kind of devices people are using. So these are the functionality that you can look into. And if you click on it into, like, say, example, a location itself also, you can dip even deeper and base it on, from the states of India, this is where the audience are all coming from, okay. So these are the kind of information you can look for. Okay, and if you want to go back, say example, just now we were at location. Sorry, I didn't teach you this part. So when you go to India, then you can see the different states of India, correct? If you want to go back into it, just go up back to the up function and click all. Okay, if you want to actually do a quick search, say example, you want to search for Brunei. The search will actually help you filter in the number of audience that are going to the Google merchandise store. And Brunei has 3 users that are coming into it during this time period of 23rd to the 29th of September. Okay. And if you want to dive deeper, usually Brunei do not actually indicate the states, but there's only Bandar Seri Begawan. But then of that, certain platforms, if more of us practice in setting up our website properly, then after that, people you are able to divide the districts of Brunei potentially over time. But this will take the nation's contribution to fill up the information to Google Analytics. If Google Analytics do not have the information, they will not be able to track our location. In general, Brunei do not have that kind of information. Even countries like, for example, Singapore, because Singapore is so small, it's hard to actually base it on the districts or the location of Singapore. See, even though Singapore has high population, but generally because, okay, another part of it, do take note, because the user is small, sometimes they cannot divide based on district. A good number for people to use to start dividing the nation into the different states would take about 5,000 or more audience, and this is something that needs to be considered onto your website itself. Okay. Okay, so to continue on in the matrix, we talk about matrix, the secondary dimension. Basically, a secondary dimension is an additional dimension you can add into the report for specific analysis, like what I showed you just now. Okay, Google Analytics visualization compares report data to an average website report. Okay, so like just now, what did based on the report on the line graph, we talk about a comparison based on dates. So what we are looking at is a comparison of dates. So you can base it on comparison of dates, or there's a few functionalities of it also. Like right now, what you see is table, but within the table itself, under the interface, you can see the graph of the user also. Based on pie chart, you can base it on a bar chart. There is a comparison chart of how much users are coming from comparison, and also a pivot table. Okay. Under comparison, you see you can compare to users, and you can also compare between new users. So this is something that you can change within the function of interface of it. Yeah, there's also advanced, which also talks about to actually practice your dimension on matrix. You can click on the types of dimension that's available here for each of it, and then after that, click on the matrix that you're looking for out of it. Okay, so they will help you set up the dimension and the matrix based on the report that you're looking to extract over time. How can the amount of data be in a sample of Google Analytics report be increased? Okay, so there is 2 things that you want to take note of this. Okay, when you do the reporting, okay, what you can look for at the channel, you look at a greater position in the sampling pull down. When I mean by greater sampling position, it is, like I mentioned just now, when you go into it, if the numbers are small, you're not able to extract much information or data. So that's why countries, smaller countries like Brunei usually have a harder time when they are connected in. That's why digital advertisers do not invest in the Brunei market. So what it means is that we need to make sure that our platforms has the enough data Google Analytics provide into the marketing technology ecosystem, so that information are being able to extract within Brunei, so that more people can actually, advertisers can come into the market and advertise within Brunei. So that's why you don't generally see the the Zalora ads on our local publishers because they do not have the information or the Google Analytics that is provided into the agencies around the region. Okay. That's just a FYI for you guys. Okay. When selecting a share template in the dashboard, what will be shared? Only your dashboard only. So when you do a sharing of your customized data reporting, you will only be able to share the dashboard that you wanted to, as shown just now. Okay, when a dashboard is shared with a user, the user can edit the dashboard or do configuration as it is. True, they can actually share it because you give them the permission to actually configure some of the dashboard. So when you share your dashboard reporting just now, okay, under the customization dashboard or save reports, you are actually under the dashboard, you can actually give them permission to move around where the data is. They cannot change the data though, but they can change the information. They can change the reporting based on time. Okay, so just take note of this. Any questions?
Yeah, talk about
the
the
interface.
dashboard configuration interface, right?
Yes.
They can change the dashboard what they want, but they cannot change data. But is it when they change it, they change the master dashboard as well?
Master desktop.
Yeah, dashboard. Master, meaning that you change the entire dashboard when you give the permission.
Yeah. So from the dashboard, you basically are creating a new overall look into it. So under the demo session right now, you got the test GA devices, real-time SEO performance, and so on, correct? What you want, when we mean by dashboard, is basically you're creating specifically for your business, correct? You either go to a blank one or a starter, which I would suggest go to a starter dashboard first and create like a test GDG. Okay, and you click on it and create dashboard. And once the dashboard is being created, okay, what they can do is they can edit what information they want to be on the dashboard and what they do not want. So this includes like the matrix, the timeline table, whether it's a pie chart, whether it's a bar chart or whatsoever, and include the group by and how the report's going to be like. Got it?
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So you're basically only sharing the information that is being shared. You're not sharing so the data is being shared, but they cannot change the data. Basically just the look and feel of it. Because of it, when you go to the main report on this left side, whether it's real-time, audience, acquisition, and behavior, it's very raw data. But when it comes to the dashboard, it's basically for you to get the information as fast as possible. Okay? Okay, so let's give ourselves a 10 minutes break, and then after that we continue in 4:14 for the lesson 3. At this point of time, any questions, please direct it to me. Okay. In lesson 3, we're going to deep dive deeper in audience report, acquisition, and behavior. So take a break now, and then we go back. Yes, like OmniSports, they have OmniSports, and OmniSports is actually a very small business. Their audience base are only about 1,000 each month, maybe 900, $700 to $900. 700 people to 900 on a good month, maybe where they have a higher audience because of their summer camp programs. Previously, they can reach about 1,500. So smaller business actually can use Google Analytics. So don't be afraid of it, because of it, if you start collecting data now, you can actually plan out your business objective and goals, and also your Google Analytics goals in the long run. So it's good to start now rather than later. Does that answer your question, Fatin? Okay. Anyone else? Don't be shy. This is a point of time for engagement, but don't worry. I will send you material at the end of the workshop. And also, just to let you know, you can always email me, and I can actually help you do the setup, and also do a bit of consultation for you guys on Google Analytics, so that you will be able to start seeing where your users are coming from, who are your audience basically. Hi everyone, is there any question that you want to ask? We still got 4 more minutes to go before we go to basic reporting. No, no, it's not a silly question, Adam. So you can't use it on, you can't, because of that. I think that one you need permission from the social media platform itself. So you are able to track social media channels, which I will show you under your source of media. You can see where your traffic is coming from. You can see a visualization of it. You might be able to track it, but only based on the posting where you need to add in a URL builder. That might be an option to it. But there's already a lot of advertising technology tools available, like Social Bakers, these are, or App Any. These are like the kind of platform that you can actually utilize and extract the information that you need out of it. Just to let you know, social media like Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, they are just optimizer to your business. Unlike a website, which you primarily own the website domain and the website URL link, you basically have it's like owning a shop, but it's on the web. But when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, you basically are part of their community. So by putting in Google Analytics, Facebook on Google Analytics, you're tracking their whole ecosystem. That means their whole audience. You won't be able to track your specific page if that is what you're talking. If that's what you're planning to do. Does that answer your question, Adam? And did I call you correctly? Okay. Okay, yeah. So take note, Facebook, you will have a data coming from the US, but not for Brunei. And if you want to dive deeper to your page, can, but with millions of users on their platform, it's hard for you to actually track your page, and then even if you give it a try, you won't be able to track your page that much. So I would not recommend you to track it. And it's also under Facebook, so I don't think so it's possibility to actually track it under Google Analytics. But Google Analytics can track whether the audience are coming from your Facebook or going to your Facebook. Okay, it's 4:14, guys. I'm going to start with the basic reports. Okay, so let us begin. Okay, in the basic report, we're going to focus on 3 of the left-hand navigation, which is the audience reporting, acquisition reports, and behavior reports, because this is one of the most important part of it that you want to look at, and obviously also conversion. But mainly what you're looking at is the audience, acquisition, and behavior. Okay, so when you look at the basic reports, let's look under the audience report. Audience report basically help you to locate the activities of the users, the demographic, the interest, the geographic, the behavior, which I remember I said is different. Technology, the technology, which is the browser that they use, could be also the devices that they use. So this is actually a key thing that you can take note of. When they talk about active users, they can base it on 7, 14 days to 30 days. Okay, how active your users are going per session. When we talk about demographic, you're talking about age group and all that. Take note, under the demographic interest, you need to enable it on the property setting. So let me show you what I mean by that. under the admin, before you can see the interest of overview of a demographic, okay, which gives you the age and the gender or their interest, you need to make sure that you enable Google Analytics to track it. Majority of the time when you set it up on Google Analytics, they do not give you that access to it. So you need to make sure that you are able to access it. Okay, let me go to another website. Okay. Okay, so example, you select your account that you want to go to. Under the property, choose the property that you have set up. Go to the property setting. Under the property setting where you name it and the website, you need to make sure that under the user link attribution, you need to switch it on. It will be off first. So when you create it, you need to click on. But take note that generally, they will only be able to track your demographic. This is just industry knowledge, okay? Demographic do not show if your user audience is less. So sometimes you're not able to track the data because during a time period, there is not enough audience during this time period. So sometimes you need to actually set the date from the beginning of when you set it up until now, and then just apply it. And that's when the data appear. Because what happened is if your total number of user is less than maybe 5,000 or lesser within that whole 1 year, 6 months, or 1 week, they do not generate the demographic. So you need to extend your filtering, your date range, so that you have more than 5,000, sometimes even more. Then the data is being collected. If not, no data will be collected based on age group and gender interest. Okay. Because of that, based on audience, you are able to see the active users. As mentioned, the active users, which is based on 1 day, in 1 day, how active are they during this time period between like 1 year time span. And then after that, 7 days, 14 days, 30 days. Okay, and you can look at the user explorer. Over it, you can look at the demographic, which is, I mentioned, the age group of 18 to 65 plus, so that you know what kind of audience are actually interacting with Laksamana. Laksamana has a higher audience of the youth group between the age of 25 to 34, and most of the audience are male compared to female, but the number is very different. So this is something that you can take note during the 1 whole year from September last year till now. And not only that, you can look at the interest over the years. Where are their interests of the audience coming from? The interest of most of the audience overall is basically they go into shopping. They are value shoppers. They are interested in media and entertainment. They are very they are into technology. Music lovers. So basically you are looking into what type of interest the category is, and they will list up for you the top 10 of it. So the total users of it based on category, based on the reach, based on the segmentation, you can tell that since it's between 20 to 34, most of them are actually working or non-working. Or looking for higher education. So in segment, basically, these are the kind of categories that people are looking for. And these are the type of content that you can consider into building or advertise. So example, if it's employment. So what happened is Laksamana should advertise maybe on Job Central, or maybe platforms like jobsbrunei.com, or maybe Brunei DA, where it has more advertorial on classified information. So this is where you want to do your advertising or spend your money in platforms like this. So if you have this kind of information of interest, this will help you in your digital campaigns that you want to look at. Not only that, under the attribution, audience, you look into geographic, which is based on language, and also locations. So under language, what you can see is, in general, they will always give you top 10. But if you want to deep dive deeper to see how much language there is, you can, based on the filter, show the rows, even to see more languages that are being present in the website itself. So the top one will definitely be English, whether it's English, US and UK. And then you have Korea. You have also English Brunei, apparently, the Indonesia, and there's English Malaysia. So in this form of information, you can know that you want to target somebody from Korea, you want to target people Australian, you want to target Indonesian and Malaysia, and people from the States, or even British nationality to come into Brunei or market their product into it. Under location itself, majority of the audience during that one time periods are basically Bruneian. They also have a high number of Vietnamese, Indonesian, Malaysia, and the US as the top 5. Based on countries, as mentioned, you can go even dive deeper on what state they are coming from. Like in Vietnam, not set means there's no tracking into it because it's not defined into it. Or there's some IP into it. But then after that, you can also see that they are coming from Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi. These are a few states in Vietnam that most of the audience are coming from. When it comes to not set, this is a bit tricky because moving forward, if you want to do campaigns in Vietnam, you most probably need to actually do some URL tracking beacon, we call it tracking beacon, that you need to implement so that it will define the location in the region moving forward. Okay. Other than that, you can look at behavior. Obviously, the behavior of that user audience are based on whether they are new visitors, whether they are returning visitors. So majority of them who always visit the websites are newer audience compared to returning visitors. Returning visitors don't oversee it. Don't overlook it. I mean, if you overlook it, you miss an opportunity to do remarketing opportunities with it. So sometimes understand your returning visitors, how much they spend on your page. Are the bounce rate high? Have they exceed your website? So these are the most one of the primary things that I would look into when I look into new visitors and returning visitors. Okay, you want to look at also engagement, how engaged they are on your website. As you can tell, they spend more than 10 seconds. Second would be 60 seconds, like 1 minute to 3 minutes. And this will break down. So obviously 10 seconds is always higher because they base it on the number of total user and the session that is being spent, and they break it down evenly to the user. Okay, so as the longer time, there are lesser people who spend longer time. So all these 4,000 are still part of this 4,400, but it's just that after 10 seconds, they are out. So that only 11 to 30 seconds of this one spend more time on the website. So just take note of those considerations. What I also like to know, especially for me when I do media buying for my clients, I look into the browser that they use or the network. The browser means, should I do more advertising on Apple or Google, or what kind of search engine should I take note of? So you can see where they are actually accessing your website to Chrome, Safari. If there's any advertising channel of it, you want to push it to their platform and invest your time with it. If Samsung, obviously in Korea, would be higher, people would actually go maybe work with Samsung as a partnership, and it's something for consideration for you to look into in the future itself. Network, obviously in Brunei, there's no setting to it, so that's why it's not set. But if the telco companies, if you start to do your URL builder and do settings based on your partnership with the 3 telcos, this is something that you can actually look into in the long run. But majority people don't create the network, because the population for Brunei is too small for them to actually do the network Google Analytics provider. But what I like to see is mobile, because of that I want to access my publishers, how people are engaging my website, whether it's to desktop, mobile, or tablet. Take note, mobile will always be higher, because in Southeast Asia itself is a 69% of audience, 67 to 69% of users coming for using mobile to access the web. That's because we are always on our phone. But don't overlook desktop also and tablet, especially desktop. The reason why is because content coming from Laksamanas are very heavy. So that's why you still see a high number of demand coming from the desktop, because people, most audience using a mobile, is harder to read the information and the cost of the programs that are under Laksamana. So people, we can tell from this information itself that the users are really looking to the information on the website from the mobile and from the desktop itself. Okay. The next we're going to look into is the acquisition report, which is another function that I love to actually go into, because under the acquisition report, what happened is that you can know where your user coming from. Like I said just now, it can be organic search. Organic search, that means people are going to Google itself and typing out Laksamana. Sorry, this function is okay. So as I mentioned, organic search are happening when you click the school itself and do a search. So this is what an organic search is. The next part of it is direct. So that means we know about Laksamana. It could be saved under your browser already, and you just click Laksamana as a website, and then after it goes directly. So that is what a direct is. Referrals is interesting, because referrals could be some form of user from their link. So under linking, when you click on referrals, you can actually deep dive deeper where are the user coming from. Links that are created by obviously Laksamana. Sometimes they are partners from the UK. He had a campaign for TB Go recently on their video, so they have a few audience coming from them. People do search to Wikipedia or MOE government tourism. So these are a few people who are directing their audience into Laksamana. Okay. Under acquisition also, you look into whether you have any campaigns that are running. So if you have any campaigns, you will implement your Google Analytics into it. There's another product of Google that are being made on it also. Search consoles could be, this is a setup that you need to implement also, which was never set up on their platform. So that's why you don't see it. But in general, you just need to see the all traffic to see where to get information. A source and media. This is actually also a high thing that as a digital marketer, I will always go to. As mentioned, organic search is a priority, but we want to know where is the organic search coming from. Obviously, the organic search source is coming from Google. It could be Yahoo, it could be Bing, it could be Internet Explorer. So source are usually coming from what channel of it coming from, and the type of medium could be organic, could be referral. This could be also social media, like the source could be coming from Instagram, but the medium is considered as a referral to the website. If you define tagging, which I will talk about tracking later on, this is something that you can refine it further so that the medium will be tracking properly for any campaigns that you do online advertising. Okay. Next, under acquisition, we look into behavior. So under behavior, there are a few things that I would look into. Behavior looks into the page view, unique page, average time they spend on the content, and like the bounce rate, how fast they exit the website. Okay, so but in general, this is like an overview. I would definitely deep dive deeper in looking into site content. Under the site content, this is the four main place that I would actually go into, which is under the content drill down, site content. This basically groups pages according to your website directory structure. Okay, so you're looking at the structure based on your homepage and then the other pages that you're creating and the pages that people are interacting. Homepage will always have a higher engagement because that's the first thing that people do. And as we know, as we seen just now under acquisition, the source and medium, people are going into it by organic search. So once they click on the organic search, they click on it, they will go directly to the homepage. The homepage is basically after you do the search, the homepage is the main website that you go to, which is their main page. So that's what a homepage is. Second content that the number of user visit are the courses, degree program, the Pearson program. Then after that, you can see that people are applying online. So they are going to the application form or downloading the form on the page itself. Okay. If you see an icon on the side of it, it's basically for you to see what is the page. If you're unsure, or sometimes the agency that work for you is not sure what the page is, so they will actually go to the page and you are able to download the page of the Pearson program that number of users are actually going into and absorbing the content. So this is the top 10, but you can also deep dive deeper if you want, because by default, majority of this information, they will give you either top 5 or top 10, but you can deep dive deeper to what kind of content or pages the audience, the users in Laksamana College are actually interacting on the website. Okay, content drill down is basically to drill down the page views, the average time that they're spending on it. Also, it's the same thing as all pages as mentioned. Okay. You also want to look at landing page and exit page. So this is information that I generally use to actually see what are the landing page that we should direct the users coming from. Okay, and exit page, at what point of the page did the user exit from? So people go to the home page, but they do exit. And how many page views and at what period of time? What is the percentage of exit? This exit also includes, if say example, I'm going to the website, I spend more than 3 seconds, I go to the courses, this is considered an exit still, but I'm exiting to another page. Okay, so this is a few things that you want to look into. Another one is events. Events basically track down the user interact with a specific elements of it. So if you do events, this needs to be a goal setting, but these events, take note, take note when it comes to events, for example, you need to use the report to track users click on the page. So events happen, say example, there is a few content and there's a few buttons that are happening here. These are considered events. If I'm at the course page and I click currently course, this is considered an event interaction, and that is when the measure is happening. So it tracks the user's click on a video player. If there's a video, whether there is a button or click image, this is considered an event, download links, and these are all trackable. But you need to implement the tracking codes beyond analytics, so that more details will be pushed into Google Analytics so you can track the information. Okay, like these kind of things, you can track it on YouTube, your own YouTube page. But if you actually click and then do a setting on events, which is under conversion, which I will talk about it later on, that is where the events will be informing you about. Okay, is there any questions? Okay, if not, we're going to do a Q&A assessment time, but as you know, at this assessment time, you can ask any question. So what is the setting must be like to view data in demographic and interest? So it's an advertising feature. So when we talk about it, the setting that to enable it is under the advertising feature, which is under properties, property setting, make sure you enable it so that you can actually track the demographic and interest of the users. The report would be best identified to potential browsers issues with website.
Oh, the answer already.
So you're
browser.
Yeah, browsers. Yeah. So the browsers and OS report. And that is something that, as mentioned, for me personally, I would use it because of that. I want to look at what kind of search engine a user be using so that I can potentially work with or do more content on their platform itself. What report shows mobile devices used on views or website. These are the device reports mobile. As mentioned, the report mobile shows you device based on mobile, desktop, and tablet. There's also an app one version for it. The app has to be a different. Let me just show you the functionality of it. Let's go to, to the RTB Go. So under the RTB Go app, okay, you go under engagement, sorry. You can see an overview of how your engagement's being like and events that are happening on the website. But beyond that also, you want to see, sorry, because I do not have access to their, yeah, you can see where they're coming from. Where is it? Where is it? Why is it missing? I need to talk to the developers. Okay, sorry. So there will be also showing between apps and iOS because of it, as you know, there's always an Apple and app function. Huawei also as a new. So the function is not showing here. I need to talk to the developers to actually put that back in. But you can see based on the types of conversions on app also where people are engaging and converting to the content itself. Okay, just a side note. Back to it. So devices report under mobile. This is a tricky question. Which traffic source dimension does Google Analytics automatically capture for each user comes to site? So there are three things that you want to look into this when it comes to traffic source. It is based on the source, the medium, and also campaign name. And this is something that I not share with you because of that. Primarily, you only focus on source and medium. But once you put Google goals into your setting, then after that's when the campaign name comes in. I will explain this further in lesson 4. Okay. Which source are available in sources in Google Analytics? Okay. So when you look into source, is just now I mentioned is the website, Google, and direct. These are the three ones. Email is considered as a medium, okay? So you have your organic, your CPC, which is cost per click and referrals. Which channel are available in default channel reports? These are organic search, displays, and direct. And these are based on the channels. If you see on the left function mentioned, when you click on the channel, you will know where your traffic is coming from, whether it's social media, whether people are your users are direct users, whether your display ad banners you spend is working. So these are the primary things that you want to actually consider. What report can show particular section of a website content perform? And that is the content drill down. Yes, remember, when you want to see a particular section of your website that is performing, you go into the content drill down and you are able to see how much the users are going for and what pages are they actually really interacting with. What reports, based on this report, basic reports, list down the web pages that user arrive first. Landing page. So your homepage is considered a landing page. This is a terminology that sometimes digital marketer or agency would use with you. So just take note of this, okay? What report should be used to check if a user are leaving from important pages on your website? There's the exit page. Remember what we talked about? When users leaving it, what important information are you looking for? You go to the exit page report, and then you can extract and see at which page did people generally exit out. Is there a high number of people exiting that page? If there is a high number of people exiting that page, you then can drill down to actually build better performance for your marketing. Could be content, could be the video that you implemented, could be the message is not informative enough. So that is something that you want to do. So that each page that you create, Google Analytics can actually help you track and advise you. Basically, from the information that you see from the numbers, you can actually tell you whether the website is performing well or not. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do another break. Let's keep it short because of that. We're going to end the workshop soon. So I will just do a 3 minutes break. But this is the best time for you to ask questions also.
So
Is there any question,
we'll resume the workshop at 4:44, yeah?
Okay, sure thing.
And we just want to invite participants to stay after the last session, session 4, for a quick photo session. So if you want to make sure you are photo ready, you can use this time to prepare.
Any question, guys? Anything that you want to see within the Google Analytics? Was I going too fast for you guys? Because time is short, I'm gonna just go very basic and just give you an overview of how to do your campaign management and do conversion tracking on it. Okay, so for that, I'm generally not gonna go too much into details about it. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me or ask me after the workshop. No questions? Anything you want to know about the basic reports for audience acquisition behavior? Okay, it's 4:44, so we go next to the basic campaign and conversion tracking. So under this one, we basically want to look into the measurement and tracking. So we are talking about tracking marketing campaigns, tracking with the how to build a URL builder to help you to implement it so that you can track it. Adding goals to measure businesses' objective and measure your Google Ads, which is another platform that you need to create to do basic campaign measurement and tracking, which is a Google Ad. Okay. You know, when you do marketing, digital marketing specifically, there are a few types of display ad banners. There's the Google Ads, which previously known as AdWord, which is above on the top right of your, when you go to do your Google search, on the top right of it, there's always ads happening. But that functionality has not been around under Google for quite some time because they have moved it to the top of it. Top left, but sometimes you still do see ads on the right side of it. So those known as AdWords previously, but now in general, they just call it Google Ads into it. When you go to visit publishers or anything under the Google Ad Network, you will sometimes see display banners like Pizza Hut ads when you see international news, or when you go to Borneo Bhutan or the Brunei the Scoop, sometimes you see display ads. Those are considered as display ads. Not only that, sometimes when you read your email, you will see ads happening on it. Those are your email marketing or newsletters. Beyond that, you also see social media, and all this information can be actually tracked when they interact with your content and be directed into your website. And once they are directed on your website, Google Analytics, as mentioned, will collect all this data and funnel it down and build up the report for you. So when you do a campaign, you want to measure it. A marketing campaign basically can track your Google through what we call a campaign tagging. Campaign tagging can be coming from a builder, as you can see in this image here, where there are 5 types of tagging that you focus on. Okay. There is the medium. Basically, it will communicate or send you a message to the user. This can include email campaigns, can include cost per click campaigns, basically paid search ads, or even your social media. The source basically will be specific page link that you are focusing them onto. So the source could be also differentiate on the type of medium you're using, which was paid search, or the source could be coming from Google, Bing, or Yahoo, or Facebook. So that is where the source of information is being tracked. You implement it, and then after that, the campaign is being measured. You also need to name your campaign. So it's advisable that if you were to do your URL builder, just name it as a campaign, maybe marketing campaign, say example, RTV Go 2021 anniversary. That is way too long. So after that, you put 2021, but you want to name the year, you want to put in the what kind of campaign is it? Is it a December holiday 2022? So you can put like December holiday 2022. So that you need to name it so that you know where the medium coming from and what are you tracking. And another thing that you need to take note of when you do tagging is where the content is going to be. So you need to use different types of content into it. Whether it is sometimes the reason why I'm saying content is also a priority. Sometimes when you do campaign for the December holiday, there will be 2 different types of images. So there could be version 1 and version 2. So you want to track which banner is performing better than the other. Okay. And lastly, what you want to tag is the terms. The terms could be identified as a keyword for pay search, or you would use in the field manually tagging it, like Bing or Yahoo. So the best way to do it will this is a longer session. So there will be if you do want it, it will have to be off this workshop to actually talk about it. Okay, Faiza, I will answer your question later on. So let me just run through the decks first, okay? The content that we want to go for. But I will answer your question, don't worry. Okay, so when I talk about each of the 5 terms, you're talking about campaign ID, the source, the medium. What is the most 2 priority that you need? The campaign source and medium is the most priority of it. And an example of it would be, the name of the campaign. Obviously, you want to name the campaign, where the campaign source is coming from, what kind of medium are you using, whether it's emails, newsletters, or whether it's a cost per click. The terms of it, what is the term, the keywords that you want to use on the campaign, and also the content, which could be a display banner or ads. Okay. So when you do your URL builder, actually, I will share you the link after this workshop. Basically, when you give a URL and you want to track the page that you're directing your user to, basically maybe your new product launch for a basket. So you want them to go directly to the page. You have this code where it's a UTM_source equals to Google, because of it, it's coming from the Google site. UTM medium, which is they paid for a cost per click ad banner coming from Google, which is the campaign name, which is Google 20% store. So there's they had a 20% store. So the rules of it is that once you create this, do not share it, test it out before you start marketing it. Because if you don't test it out, you won't know what to do with it. So before launching it with the link, you want to verify that this code actually works. Okay, you open a private browser, you can see whether testing working, and you can see it in real time. So it's a good idea to try the URL link that you created and check it on the real-time reports. Okay, sometimes it will take a few minutes, so wait for at least 30 okay, for people like me who are impatient, I just let you know, always inform the marketer or the digital marketer. If you are their supporting marketer, always give them 30 minutes. Tell them that it will only be up after 30 minutes, because Google Analytics will need time to actually sort out all this coding that has been built, and you can actually then track it based on your URL builder. Okay, but there are many other ways for you to track it. So I've read there's not only the URL builder, there are new advertising technology, or what we call tracking beacons, can be implemented into the URL builder so that you can track whether your campaign for that page is successful or not. Okay. Okay, next, when you do your campaign and conversion, you want to set up an overview. So when you need to take note. When you want to do conversion and you want to do your goal setting, you have to differentiate between your business goal and your Google Analytics goal. When it comes to business goal, obviously your business is to generate sales, but Google to direct it. So your Google Analytics will only come into play when you are able to set your goals, and your Google Analytics goals is basically just to track your conversion rate. It's not supposed to track your sales, because your sales, your revenue is just a reporting process. So take note that your business goal and your Google Analytics goals are very different. Got it? So Google Analytics basically feature your goals to track conversion, and these could be based on percentage of users converted into it. So we usually refer all these goal setting into a conversion rate, and you always present the conversion rate to your bosses, which is easier for them to understand this information. Okay. Take note, when you do Google Analytics goals, you only can set up to 20 goals. Okay, so this is something for you to take note of when you are doing your setting up your goals. Okay, when you set up your goals, take note, there's 4 things that you need to a user needs to be interacting with, and that is based on the destination, duration, page, and the events that is being set up out of it. So for example, let's do just a quick demo and what we did for Laksamana based on their previous campaign that they did. We based on how many people actually engage onto their registration form, and we set up a goal over it based on application form. Okay, so you need to see a goal flow, and that is where the destination is. So we set up where the user were coming directly from RTB Go, and then after that they were sending it, submitting it to RTB Go. So the destination first priority is where did the people go? How did user know about RTB Go? Okay, there were various users coming from LinkedIn, from direct people, there was Google search, and there was other channels that were going to RTB. And when they saw the banner, there were 72 people going into it. So you are able to see where the step-by-step of it and how many people actually did submission online. Okay, so this is actually you're creating like a kind of funnel reservation to see how many go to the application form and how many people submit into it. So this is the numbers that you want to see out of it to do a setup. So you need to know where the destination is. So they're going to RTB, then from RTB is directed directly to the application form and then submission. Duration is based on the length of the user spending on. Because sometimes when people drop off out of it, you want to know where they drop off to. The pages are based on the pages that they are going direct from application form to submission. These are pages to pages and events that are happening. So these are the 4 things that you want to look into when you're setting your goals. Okay. Okay, so when you set your goals, there's a thing that where we also set Google Ad Manager. This is something that you need to set another account. Take note, Google Ad Manager do not generally open for anyone. The reason why is because Google Ad Manager takes some time. You need to be a Google ad partner, and you only have access into this product once your business is part of Google Analytics and you have a big number of audience. In general, you cannot create, you won't be able to create a Google Ad Manager account unless you have a big audience, and it will usually take some time for you to actually have access to it. Because of that, Google will only support it later on. But agencies such as myself, we are able to connect with Google and actually develop a Google Ad Manager account for ourselves and for our clients itself. So when we build a Google Ad Manager account, you basically are connecting your Google Ad Manager and your analytics into one account. But my Google Ad Manager is not connected to Laksamana, just like FYI. So we are basically using Google Ad Manager for our campaigns that we deliver on RTB. So any of these ads that you see here is going to the Google Ad Manager, and we actually are able to track the delivery, the inventories, and the reporting. But this is only based on the performance of these banners, not the performance of the website. Google Analytics basically measure the performance of this website, while as Google Ad Manager only tracks the display banners that are happening on Google. That's happening on the website itself. Okay, so there is the difference between Google Analytics and Google Ad Manager. I will not go through you too much on Google Ad Manager. The reason why is because Google Ad Manager is another kind of workshop that you need to go through to understand it. Okay, yeah, that's about it. This is assessment time. Now I will answer some of the questions that you might have. Okay, Faiza, apa ni? The exit pages report. We find out the leave, right? Sorry, Faiza, can you rephrase your question? I do not understand what you're asking. Is it possible? Hi, Faiza, are you there? Hello? Hello?
Faiza, you can unmute yourself to rephrase your question if you want.
Can you clarify what you're asking me? I'm so sorry. So if there's no weird question, guys. You can just ask me any question. Sorry. Okay, don't worry. Okay, but basically, bounce rate and leaving the page is a very different kind of reporting process. Okay, when you're looking at sorry, not acquisition, it's behavior. When you're looking at site content, correct, and you're looking at exit pages. Exit pages is basically at which page they are exiting out and what's the duration like. So you might want to add in. So you want to see, okay. Okay. Okay, so you won't be able to, so take note, exit page and bounce rate are very different. Bounce rate is basically with how they engage your website, while exit page is they have visited your website, they read through your content, but this is where they drop out and exit your website. So from RTB Go, and then after, say example, I go to Laksamana, correct? This is considered me exiting out from the exit page. So these are basically interacting number of users who are exiting on this content of yours. But exit page could also sometimes means that from the home page, they go to courses and application. But when it comes to bounce rate, correct, which is under audience, bounce rate basically measure, as mentioned, how long they stay on your website before they actually, so it's basically they measuring your duration, while landing page is just talking about when did they exit your page. Okay, does that answer your question, Faiza? If you're still there, if not, we can I will speak to you later. Anyone else? Is there any question? Any questions? Anyone want to ask about Google Ad Manager? Or yes, Han, that's right. The lower the bounce rate, the higher it is, the better it is. So if it's high, for example, Laksamana has 64% out of it, correct? Say example, I'm going to Omni website. Oh yeah. Okay, so if I'm, say example, I'm at RTB Go, the bounce rate is 76% compared to Laksamana. But take note, the audience between Laksamana and the audience between RTB Go are very different. So it's you basically can set the can see how the numbers are like, but there is actually a big difference to how your Google Analytics and how you measure it. And because the audience also play a big part of it on it. And this is something for you to take note of, okay? Like for RTB Go, during the month of August, it has high user audience. So the bounce rate is high. But if you want to compare it with July, okay, it's even higher because there's lesser people and the bounce rate is really high. And also take note that because some of the content, like the content was low, so there's a lot of factors to the bounce rate. Sometimes connectivity plays a big part, as mentioned. Okay? Okay, Han? Any questions? Google AdWords. Is Google Ad Manager, no more Google AdWords. we don't I can do a training on it, but we will need to find a partner to work in it. I can check with Ying if she's interested to do more training in the future, or YAB for Google Ad Manager. But these are much more advanced classes, and this is for basically agency or in-house level. And usually they need a team. You need to register your organization to the Google marketing platform as a partner. You need to be registered as a Google marketing partner. Then you can get a Google Ad Manager account. So if you can't have that account, most probably you have to work with an agency to help you run the account, the Google Ad Manager campaigns. I hope that helps answer your question, Faiza. You don't mind me asking, are you an agency or are you a brand? Or are you a publisher? What publisher means is publishers are like, as mentioned, is like RTB Go, the Bruneian Borneo Bulletin. Those are publishers because they have websites, they create content, and they monetize their platform. So those are what publishers are. Agencies are basically like Mixed Media, Hoko, Optimus, Oxy, there's a new one. There's a few agencies, obviously the big ones like Stachi, Happy Marketer, those are agencies. Brands can also do it in-house, but usually you need to be a registered, they don't generally have Google Ad Manager. They always work with an agency to help them with the Google Ad Manager. So that's the frustrating part. But if your business wants to be a registered partner with Google marketing partners, be a Google marketing certified Google marketing partners, that is a possibility. But there's a few criteria requirements that is needed to be a partner with them. Okay, don't worry about the name. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to check. Okay, I just want to do a check-in. From this workshop, what do you find informative and what do you feel confusion that you still feel that I was not able to explain to you?
Hi, hello, Rabani, Joanna. I
yes,
think
Joanna. Yes.
actually you cover all the basic Google Analytics, and it's very insightful and very useful as well. At least I have a foundation for the Google Analytics, where to look for if I'm to look for certain of the report, so I know where to go. And a recommendation for you, if possible, that some of the agencies they are looking for actionable insight. In the future, you have those kind of like actionable insight, that what we do when we see this kind of metric, and what should we do, like for example the bounce rate. If we see very high bounce rate, yeah, what we can do.
Right.
That would be good.
Actually, I do have a study for you guys, but because the time limit was quite short, so I wasn't able to share with you like a example of it. But if you all, if Ying, are you okay if we extend by 15 minutes, by 5:15? Let me do and share with them a sample case study, the previous work that I've done.
Yeah, sure.
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay, no worries. Let me find the file first. I'm so sorry about it. Okay, there's this actually workshop I do, the art of media buying, that utilize Google Ad Manager primarily, and the different channels of social medias or display banners or even search engine, which is kind of answer what Faiza might be looking for. Okay, so let me share you a screen. This workshop usually takes about an hour or two, but I will just skim through the deck for you. Okay. So when you do Google, how we do Google Analytics and compare it with Google Ad Manager is there's an art to the digital media advertising. Okay. And this workshop was actually conducted for RTB, especially for them. Okay. when you do your this workshop, basically we talk about the outcome of premium experience online, how new ad units can actually help create opportunities within the digital space, whether it's coming from the search engine, Google Ad Manager, Facebook ads, Instagram, LinkedIn. Basically we publishers develop and monetize their platform, and this is where advertisers see their platform as a selling tool to drive traffic to their website. And we we've used Google Analytics Insight to drive the very data-driven behavior trends that build that strategy for the businesses. Okay, so out of it, why we do this digital marketing is because they are much more targeted to the digital mediums and sources. The buying of digital media that are data driven, which help basically target the focus on audience and help move. And digital marketing also is about re-looking at your Google Analytics and going back and revising some of your creative, some of your content to do remarketing. Okay, so when we look into it, we focus on search. We focus on the display banners, and these are examples that I would actually do. I look at the kind of keywords that the website will have, whether they do display, whether there's any traction in the display banners. If there's too little, maybe I will spend more on my display banners. Social media, was there any interaction within the social media? Did the social media content or photos or videos, did they direct them to my website? So all this data, especially where I show you the reporting part of it, the channels of content, this is what we will look for. And also influencers. Influencers will direct you to your website. This could be out of home advertisement. They could be your real digital influencers like your Vano, Adidas. And so sorry, I'm not too sure with much Brunei social influencers, but you get what I'm saying. Influencers that you want to partner up with it. And how you do it is because why you spend with search engines, because they are like for search engine, whether it's Google, YouTube, Yahoo, Amazon, they are keywords. And these kind of keywords can be found on your Google Analytics, as mentioned. You need to deep dive deeper under your content and then click on it and see what the keywords based on the search are people are using for. When you play around your Google Analytics, you will be able to see it. Display banners, these are primarily incorporated by videos or images. And you can advertise to the Google Ad Network, work with agencies such as myself or any other agencies around Brunei or the region to actually help you buy the display banners locally and regionally to incorporate your videos, because these are much more dynamic ads that are happening online. Okay, your social media in a context also has information insights. You can compare your insights and then after all, just use your Google Analytics as insight whether your content is engaging enough for the website. So I usually use social media information, not from social media, but Google Analytics, and see whether there was engagement, whether the traffic for my website has interaction to these various social media that is directing users to my platform. Okay. Influencers also, you will work with them only if they promote you online, and there is a tagging system that you can implement based on the hashtag or during the promotional of your activities or your campaigns to help track your campaign with it. And if you work with influencers, I suggest, remember the goal setting we talked about, URL builder, do that so you can actually compare whether the influencers are really driving traffic to your website. But the only reason why you would work with influencers because they have you are paying them for their followers. You are not paying them for developing your content or whatsoever. You are basically buying their followers to direct them. But because the influencers are trustable and they are respected by the audience, and you are actually getting their audience to your website. So take note, you are always working with all these different channels because you want to drive their traffic to your website ultimately. So when you do digital advertising, there are reasons why you do it. Increase brand awareness, improve your product sales. So even though you don't have an e-commerce channel, you can work with Shopee Food, you can work with Kedai Roncit, work with them. Yes, they take a percentage cut of it, just like all these, like right now what's happening, Hey Domo, Tapao, Go Mama, they are partners with e-commerce platform, and you should work with them so that you can do online sale, so that you don't need to push hard to develop a website. If you want to develop a website, that's fine. It depends on the type of business you are. If you're a distributor, why not work with the e-commerce platform? So that's help to actually help, they will actually do the marketing side, or you as a brand, you become an advertiser and you basically do the campaign and direct them to their website. You want to ask Shopiful, you want to ask Go Mamam for their user and the number of users and traffic they have, and that's where you want to invest your brand onto your website and sell the products, basically driving repeat purchases. Got it? Yeah. So the benefit of it is because with Google Analytics, you are basically measuring Google Analytics is free, so it's basically cost effective. You're able to know who you're reaching a target. You're able to measure it, support everyday ad budget. So if you have a ad budget on a monthly basis, work around that budget and to push your display banners, search ad into it, and they are very flexible. Like cost per click is based on number of clicks, and then when you have to pay for the ads based on the interaction of your ads. That means you have to create better content, better image, better video, so that people will click on it, and only when they click, that is when they pay for it. So you're able to see the monthly visit, page visits, the bounce rate as mentioned, and also the average time they spend on their platform. So if you want to talk, I won't go about traditional and digital advertising. Traditional is still important, but remember, traditional do not able to track. But Google Now, if you are able to find ways around OOH, out of home kind of advertisement, these are able to track in the long run in the future, and it's actually one of the highest performance marketing platforms so far that is performing well, and it's a demand within advertisers within the region. Okay, so when you do digital advertising, it's basically you are doing targeting. That's why we are doing this Google Analytics workshop, because it's supposed to be data driven. And when you do data driven, do this checklist. You want to create your goals, build a strategy, work with your agency and build their strategy. Discuss with them the kind of budget that you have. Choose the ad platform, whether it's search, display, social media, or influencers. So then you can actually push out your marketing initiative, create an omni-channel out of these 4 channels, and acquire ad creative. So that means work with a creative agency also, not only with an agency that help you in your media buying and planning, but work with a creative agency to create engaging content and image or videos. Okay, and implement. Once all this implement, always make sure that you go back to your Google Analytics and do a post launch and optimize it. So even though the campaign is live, what we do is once the campaign is up, I wait for 3 to 5 days before I interact we see whether the campaign is running well. Okay, so that is something that you need to take note. Use this checklist as a great example to optimize your campaign, whether it's moving forward or not. Okay, another thing that next, the kind of matrix that I always look for: click-through rates. Reach is from Google Analytics, impression from Google Ad Manager, clicks from Google Ad Manager, cost per clicks. Google Ad Manager, Google Analytics can provide you how much reach you have, cost per acquisition, conversion, and cost per dollar. So these are the few metrics that I would actually look into and develop reports for the clients. Okay, and based on digital advertising, you are looking into bidding models. So you buy based on viewability, you based on cost per click, cost per lead generation, and cost per acquisition or action, which usually CPA are practices by banks who do credit card promotional. So acquisitions are coming from the finance sector. CPM are usually brand awareness. Cost per click are basically sales focus, and lead generation could be form building or surveys that you are actually doing campaigns or newsletters. So this is the types of campaigns that are highly used for bidding models for each of the four examples of digital campaigns that I would actually do. In general, people would spend, okay, I know it's a shocker, companies will dedicate 9 to 10,000 a month on digital advertising, but I know most of us are startups or MSME, small businesses, but don't take this as oh, that's the amount that you know. but it's a good amount that you know that you potentially need to base on the reach of our audience. This really depends on your business objective, but this is just when we're talking about 9 to 10,000, we're talking about bigger agencies, bigger companies who have the advertising spend to do 4 channels at one go. So that if you do only one channel, maybe you can spend about $1,000 to $1,000, and RTB has a good actually rates for advertising if you want to look into it. Okay, so when it comes to successful digital campaign, you look into compelling ads, killer copies, custom creatives. Obviously, it needs to be custom for your brands and your audience, and so that different banners are supposed to target different audience base. So basically, when you see your demographic as age group, okay, I only want target 18 to 24, they get banner A. I want to target 25 to 34, they get banner B. So you need to, it's advisable, you need to create 20 creatives when you do a campaign. 20 different types of creative to target different types of target audience. That is what we do. Okay, so a case study, I'm so sorry to talk so long about it, but based on a case study, what I previously worked with was with Gillette, and we run it on a football website. So for Gillette, what we did was we run in 3 markets, Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand. What we did was they, based on the analytics, they wanted to target the youth male audience 18 to 24. Why we target this website is because through Google Analytics, we're able to know that their audience base are between 17 to 24. And then after that, 98% of them are male, 2% are female. For each market varies, okay? And most of the language in Malaysia was bilingual, which is English, but majority of them speak Malaysia. Bahasa, sorry. Then after that, obviously Thai, they don't speak much English, so that most of the content was in Thai, and for Singapore it's English. So from all this information and information that we receive from go.com, we are able to push Google PNG campaign for Gillette for each market and create content and create a focus campaign that's specifically for the market itself, okay? In partnership with it, Gillette built a partnership with Go.com, which is a publisher, and Gillette will be the brand, and obviously me will be the agency. So what we did was we built media and content activation, anything that's curated for the audience, specifically for the mobile and also for the desktop, because there were more mobile users. So most of our football content was coming from the mobile. So that's why we make sure that there was branding awareness when people read the football content at that period of time to from the Google Analytics result that was shared by Go.com. Okay. Out there, from the partnership, we actually created a special page just for Gillette, so that all the brandings from it and even video contents, before any video, there was a Gillette branding towards it. So these are a few examples that we created. And not only that, because we knew that Malaysia was bilingual, but majority of them speak Bahasa, we had campaigns that were running in English, but also in Bahasa at the same time. And because they do not have the product like Singapore, which is Fusion, we focus on Mark III, because of that, Fusion was an upper product that cost more. So when we work with Gillette, PNG, we focus on their lower tier shaving products rather than the higher tier products, which is in Singapore, which is the Fusion. So that's why working with them, we actually use this data analytics information and target the youth audience who obviously had limited budget. In Thai itself, because majority of them speak Thai, most of our creative had to be in Thai. So even the ad banners that we created for them had to be in Thai and focusing on cheaper products from Gillette, which is the Mark III than the Fusion. So that's how we use Google Analytics. For social media, we understand that the reach was lesser, but what we do was we optimize to actually get more people to see the banner and get Gillette to spend money on Go.com more. We actually use social media as an optimizer. So that social media was still a great platform just to direct people to the website, but we also built some branding awareness, and what we did was we are able to know their reach, page view, and how much the fans engage based on Facebook and Twitter. Okay, we did branded content. on social media and push it out to also the website at the same time. Obviously, they had this launch of playing cards. So we did a playing card because of and feature football players who have beard and who had has different type of shape cuts, facial cuts on them. Not only that, also we focus on top best 11 because this page was the best one. So that's why we created a branded content for Gillette for the best 11 players that was recommended by the editors from goal.com. So these are the kind of analytics that you want to create out of it to see an example of how you can actually derive and drive more traffic onto the website. I have results from the case study, but I'm not able to share with you at the moment. So sorry for speaking too fast, but did anyone, Joanne, did you get that part?
Yeah, thank you so much. I got more than I expecting.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, so sorry for speaking too fast, but
No,
yeah,
don't
because
worry.
the time was
Yeah, I understand. Thank you so much, Rabani. I got it.
No problem, no problem. Joanne, if at any point in time after this workshop you want to ask more questions, do just reach out to me. Yeah,
Okay.
Faiza, so sorry. Everything from the URL builder needs to be more specific. Yeah, URL builder it needs to be more specific. I only can explain to you on a later after this workshop. I can't do it now because we have run out of time.
Yeah,
So
so the trainer's information along with your e-certificate, the workshop material and the video recording will be emailed out to participants after we're finished with processing the video. So if everyone's ready, we could have the photo session now. Are you done, Bunny?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. So is someone from YEAB going to take the photo?
Yes.
All right, so if anyone wants to join in for the photo session, you can just I believe you're able to turn on your video if you want. Can someone from YAB check if the option for the participants to turn on their video is available?
It is.
All right. Hello.
Publishers.
Yeah, so Bunny, I'm not sure if you can see the result of the poll. Oh, I think you're mute, by the way.
Yes, I can see it.
Okay. So it seems like most of the participants here are brands. And then,
Yeah, interesting. There's a good number of publishers also. I would definitely like to know who are the publishers around here, around the platform. Do reach out to me, publishers and also agencies. Definitely, what Optimus can provide to you is advertising technologies, finding ways to actually help you to reach out to these brands that who are very interested in the digital advertising. Google Analytics is there's a workshop on it. I can send you the link after it, and you can try it out. So basically, most of the content I got it from there to actually build up the as informative as possible to you guys. And I know I spoke a lot. I've been speaking a lot. There's always room to ask questions after the workshop. So thank you very much for taking your time to listen to me talking for the past 2 to 3 hours.
yeah, you've been talking since 2 p.m.
Yeah. Thanks, Ying, for also organizing it, and thanks YAB for also organizing this workshop. It's really nice to actually engage and build a digital Brunei for us.
Yeah, thank you, Bunny, and everyone for attending the workshop. And just to check, Liana, is everything okay for the photo session?
Yeah. Is everyone ready?
Yeah. So is it like a formal photo or?
Okay, can you freestyle?
All right.
Okay, get ready. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me put these times.
Okay. Is it okay, Liana?
One more time.
All right.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone. So again, if you have any questions for the trainer after the workshop, his contact email would be sent to you via Eventbrite. There will be an Eventbrite email. So thank you again for attending the workshop, and I hope it was informative for all of you. And thank you, lastly, thank you to YEAB and Rabani for organizing everything.
Thank you to the organizer. Thank you to
you.
our Bayani. Thank you so much.
All right, thank
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, very
Bye.
insightful.
Stay safe. Take care.